David cut off the python's tail with scissors. He placed the wound near a glass cup. Tentacles grew from the severed end and began to devour the glass. The python quickly grew a new tail. Seeing that his experiment was a success, David removed the chip from the snake's mouth and placed it in the cup, where it began to fuse with human genes. A giant embryo appeared on the laboratory table. As David slowly approached to inspect it, the embryo suddenly began to shake. A pair of hands tore through the outer shell, revealing the body of a humanoid creature. David froze in shock. The monster suddenly stood up and shed its outer shell, taking on the form of George. Seeing that perfect body, David was thrilled. But the monster had developed its own consciousness. One hand clamped around David's neck, and David was killed. This terrified Peter, who was standing nearby. Peter took advantage of the monster's unfamiliarity with its body and immediately escaped from the laboratory. George examined his own body and then walked over to the nearby workbench. George was now concerned about whether his rebirth ability was still intact. He picked up a knife and cut off his own finger. There was no pain as he had imagined. George licked the flowing liquid and held the severed finger close to the glass. The finger was instantly repaired. After confirming his superpowers were intact, George had a bold idea. After dressing up, George went to a dance party to find a female companion to reproduce with. Watching Kelly writhing on stage reminded George of his days as the Snake King. George forced Kelly to scream with a gun, satisfying his twisted desires. Just as George was about to act, Agent Jack suddenly appeared and emptied his magazine into George from behind. George felt his energy depleting rapidly and fled into the elevator. Soon, Jack caught up with him. George grabbed the shattered glass and swallowed it, and the gun on his chest immediately healed. As Jack aimed at George, George jumped off the bridge. He vanished without a trace. The recovered George appeared at the stadium, fixing his gaze on a fiery beauty. This was witnessed by the beauty's boyfriend, who swung his fist at George. George used his superpowers to knock him down and tossed him to the center of the stadium.